The last snows of winter melted, and new Avalon stirred with the promise of spring. Mara, feeling the weight of her years, called the council together beneath the blossoming trees of the amphitheater. The city's leaders, Tavi, Sam, Lyra, Tomas, and the others, gathered around her, joined by representatives from allied lands and the Council of Youth. Mara's voice was steady but gentle. The time has come for new hands to guide New Avalon. I will remain among you, but my days as your leader are at an end. There was silence, broken only by the breeze. Tavi stepped forward, his eyes bright. You taught us to listen, to hope, and to remember. We will honor your path. Sam embraced Mara, her paint-stained hands leaving a gentle mark on Mara's cloak. Your story is part of every mural, every song. Lyra and Tomas pledged to continue their work, protecting, building, and teaching. The others bowed, their forms luminous in the morning sun. The city celebrated Mara's legacy with a festival of gratitude. Lanterns bearing her likeness floated on the river, and children reenacted her greatest moments in playful pageantry. No sooner had the new council taken up its duties than word arrived from the northern border. A great storm, unlike any before, had torn through the forests, leaving a path of destruction. Tavi organized a relief expedition, joined by Lyra, Tomas, Sam, and several others. They found villages battered by wind and flood, their people frightened and weary. Sam painted murals on the walls of damaged homes, images of resilience and renewal. Tomas helped rebuild bridges and clear roads, while Lyra coordinated the distribution of food and supplies. The others calmed the land, their presence soothing the frightened children and animals. One evening, as the team gathered around a fire, a village elder spoke. We feared we were forgotten, but you came. You brought hope. Tavi replied, we are all part of the same story. When one of us suffers, we all feel it. As the northern villages recovered, Tomas discovered strange stones unearthed by the storm, smooth, etched with symbols similar to those on the gates. The others examined them, their forms flickering with curiosity. Sam traced the symbols, feeling a faint warmth. These are messages, she said, stories from before the veil. The council decided to investigate further. Lyra led a small team into the forest, following a trail of stones to a hidden glade. There, they found a circle of ancient pillars, each one humming with energy. Tavi deciphered a fragment. When the world is ready, the stones will sing again. The others sang, their voices resonating with the pillars. A gentle light filled the glade, and visions of the distant past flickered in the air, scenes of unity, loss, and hope. Lyra whispered, it's a reminder. We must never forget where we came from. Inspired by the stone's message, the council called a gathering of all allied lands. Delegates arrived, each bringing a story, a song, or a piece of wisdom. The amphitheater overflowed with voices, young and old, human and other. Tavi presided, ensuring every voice was heard. That a healer from the southern oases described a new plant that could cure fever. An inventor from the western coast demonstrated a device for harnessing wind. Children from the mountain villages performed a dance that mimicked the movement of the auroras. The others contributed a song that wove together the melodies of every land, creating a harmony that brought tears to many eyes. Sam painted a mural across the amphitheater wall, capturing the faces and dreams of all who had gathered. By the end of the council, new friendships had formed, and plans were made for joint projects, gardens, schools, and festivals to celebrate their shared future. As spring blossomed, New Avalon thrived. The learning circle expanded, the Council of Youth grew bolder, and the Alliance of Gates flourished. The city's plazas rang with laughter, debate, and song. Mara, now an honored elder, watched with pride as Tavi, Sam, Lyra, Tomas, and the new council led with compassion and wisdom. One morning, as the sun rose over the city, the gates across the world resonated in unison. A wave of gentle energy swept the land, a sign that the world was in balance. Tavi addressed the people from the gate. We are the keepers of memory, the builders of hope. Our story is not finished. As long as we walk together, there will always be a new dawn. Sam unveiled her latest mural, a tapestry of faces, gates, and dreams stretching into the horizon. And so, with unity, memory, and hope as their guide, the people of New Avalon stepped forward, ready for whatever wonders and mysteries the world would bring next. The city awoke to the sound of bells and laughter as the festival of renewal began. Every street and plaza was adorned with garlands of fresh flowers, and the air was alive with music from every corner of the Alliance. Delegates from distant lands arrived in colorful caravans, bringing gifts and stories to share. Tavi, now recognized as a leader in his own right, opened the festival with a speech at the gate. Today we celebrate not only what we have built, but the bonds that hold us together. Let us honor the past, embrace the present, and dream of the future. Sam led children in painting a vast mural on the city's main wall, a swirling tapestry of gates, rivers, and faces, each brushstroke a promise of unity. Lyra organized games and contests of skill, while Tomas unveiled a new invention, a wind-powered lantern that cast shifting patterns of light, symbolizing the ever-changing journey of the city. As dusk fell, the others joined the festivities, their forms shimmering in the lantern glow. They taught the people a new dance, its steps echoing the rhythms of the world's heartbeat. On the festival's second night, a group of fishermen returned from the river with a strange artifact, a sphere of crystal, etched with ancient symbols similar to those found on the stones in the northern forest. The sphere pulsed with a gentle blue light, and when brought to the gate, it resonated with a low, musical hum. Tomas and the others studied the artifact. "It's a message," Tomas explained, "but one we have not yet learned to read." Sam traced the symbols and felt a vision bloom in her mind. Images of a city beneath the waves, its people reaching out in hope. She painted what she saw, and as the mural grew, the sphere's light brightened. The council gathered, and Tavi proposed an expedition to the coast to seek the source of the message. "The world is wider than we know," he said. "If there are others reaching out, we must answer." A ship was prepared, crewed by volunteers from across the Alliance. Lyra took command, her steady presence reassuring all aboard. Tomas brought his inventions, Sam her paints, and Tavi his boundless curiosity. The others joined as guides, their forms adapting to the shifting winds and tides. The voyage was filled with discovery. They sailed past islands lush with unfamiliar plants and birds, and at night, the sea shimmered with bioluminescent light. Along the way, they encountered fishermen who spoke of strange songs rising from the deep point one morning. As mist clung to the waves, the ship approached a circle of standing stones rising from the water. The crystal sphere glowed, and the others sang a song that echoed across the sea. From beneath the surface, figures emerged, beings of water and light, their eyes filled with wonder and caution. The two peoples met at the water's edge, exchanging gifts and stories. The sea beings spoke in a language of song and gesture, but with the help of the others, understanding blossomed. Sam painted their likenesses on the ship's sail, while Tavi asked endless questions about their world. Tomas shared knowledge of the gates, and Lyra demonstrated the festival's dances, drawing laughter from both sides. The sea beings revealed their own gate, deep beneath the waves, and shared their fears of the Veil's return. "We have seen the shadows," their leaders sang, "but we have also seen your light." The two peoples pledged to keep the connection alive, promising to share knowledge and defend each other from whatever darkness might arise. The expedition returned to New Avalon, bringing news of the sea beings and their underwater gate. The city rejoiced, and the alliance grew stronger, now spanning land and sea. Mara, watching from her garden, smiled as she listened to the new songs drifting through the air. "The world is always opening," she told Sam. "As long as we reach out, there will be new friends, new mysteries, and new hope." The council met beneath the blossoming trees, planning future journeys and exchanges. Tavi and Sam dreamed of painting a mural that would stretch from the city's highest tower to the shore, a testament to unity across all boundaries. And so, as the sun set on another chapter, the people of New Avalon stood together, ready to welcome whatever wonders and challenges the widening world would bring, their story ever growing, ever bright. With the alliance between land and sea newly forged, New Avalon entered an era of unprecedented curiosity and exchange. Delegates from the underwater city visited the plazas, their voices shimmering in the air like the songs of whales. Children followed them in delighted wonder, learning to mimic their gestures and echo their liquid melodies. Tavi and Sam worked together on the grand mural, beginning at the city's highest tower and spiraling downward in waves of color. The mural depicted the journey to the sea, the meeting of peoples, and the promise of shared futures. Tomas designed a device that allowed the sea beings' voices to be recorded and replayed above the water, so their stories could be heard by all. Lyra established a watch along the coast, training teams to respond to any sign of the Veil's return or other disturbances. The others moved between land and sea, their forms shifting to guide and reassure both peoples. One evening, as the city gathered for a night of storytelling, the crystal sphere pulsed with new light. A gentle tremor ran through the earth and water, and a message echoed in every heart. The world's circle grows. Prepare for the next tide. The following weeks brought subtle changes. The river's song grew more complex, and the gates across the world resonated with unfamiliar harmonies. Fishermen reported glimpses of new creatures in the depths, some playful, some wary. Tavi led a council session with land and sea delegates. "The world is speaking to us," he said. "We must listen together." Sam proposed a festival to celebrate the unity of all peoples. She invited artists from every nation and beneath the waves to contribute to the mural, transforming it into a living tapestry that changed with the seasons. Tomas and the others worked with the sea beings to study the shifting energies of the gates. They discovered that the Veil's remnants were dissolving, but in their place, new connections were forming, gateways to places neither land nor sea had known. Lyra organized joint patrols, pairing land scouts with sea beings to explore the coastal wilds and the mysteries beneath the waves. One dawn, a haunting melody drifted from the sea, a song none had heard before, filled with longing and hope. The sea beings gathered at the shore, their eyes bright with anticipation. Sam painted the song as she heard it, swirling lines and colors that seemed to move on their own. The others stood beside her, their forms shimmering in time with the music. A young sea being named Lyriel approached Tavi. "There is another gate, far beyond the reefs. We have always feared it, but now it calls to us." The council debated the risks and possibilities. Mara, wise as ever, encouraged them. "Every journey begins with a question. Let us seek the answer together." A new expedition was formed. Tavi, Sam, Lyra, Tomas, Lyriel, and the others. They set sail at dawn, following the song into uncharted waters. The voyage was long and filled with marvels. They sailed past glowing forests of coral, through storms that sang with lightning, and into waters so deep the stars seemed to shine below as well as above. At last, they reached a place where the sea grew impossibly clear and still. In the depths, a gate of living stone and crystal pulsed with light, its surface swirling with images of distant lands and unknown faces. Lyriel sang the ancient song, and the gate responded, opening a passage of shimmering water and air. The expedition hesitated, then stepped through. Together on the other side, they found a world both familiar and strange, a place where land and sea blended, where new peoples waited with curiosity and hope. The air was filled with scents and songs never before known in New Avalon. Tavi greeted the new friends with open arms. Sam began a mural on a cliff of living stone, and the others shared the story of the world's healing. As the sun set on this new horizon, the expedition knew their journey was only beginning. The circle of unity had grown once more, and the promise of tomorrow shone brighter than ever. And so, the story of New Avalon continued, ever expanding, ever hopeful, guided by memory, courage, and the endless wonder of what lay beyond the next gate. The new world beyond the reef gate was a marvel, Trees with silver leaves arched over tidal pools teeming with creatures that glowed softly in the dusk. The air was rich with the songs of birds and the distant calls of beings neither land dweller nor seafarer, but something in between. Tavi and Sam, joined by Lyra, Tomas, Lyriel, and the others, were greeted by a delegation of these new folk, tall, graceful, with webbed hands and luminous eyes. Their leader, a woman named Sarah, welcomed them in a language that blended music and gesture. "We have watched the gates for generations," Sarah said, her voice echoing like a bell. "We hoped someone would come, but we feared the veil's shadow." Sam painted as Sarah spoke, capturing the hope and wariness in the faces of these new friends. Tomas and Lyriel worked with the local engineers, fascinated by their water-driven machines and floating gardens, but not all was peaceful. Sarah confided in Mara, "There are places even we fear to go. The Veil's remnants linger in the deep forests and the farthest caves. Some of our people have vanished." Determined to help, the expedition joined Sarah's people in searching for the missing. Lyra led a team through the forests, her senses sharp. Tavi and Lyriel questioned villagers, while Tomas studied the energy patterns near the gate. They soon discovered signs of the Veil, places where the air shimmered with unease and memories twisted into strange forms. In a cave beneath a waterfall, they found a group of Sarah's people, dazed and frightened, trapped in waking dreams. Sam and the others painted and sang, weaving memory and hope into the very stone. Slowly, the Veil's grip loosened, and the lost ones returned to themselves. "We owe you our lives," Sarah said, tears in her eyes. But the Veil is not gone. It moves, seeking places where fear and sorrow linger. Mara, listening from afar, sent a message. "The Veil's shadow is old, but so is our light. Stand together, and you will overcome." In gratitude, Sarah invited the expedition and the others to a great council. Beneath the arching trees, representatives of land, sea, and the new people gathered in a circle. Tavi spoke first. "We have learned that the Veil feeds on division and silence. But when we share our stories, it weakens." Lyriel described the healing of the Veil in the sea, while Tomas shared inventions that could sense the presence of the Veil's energy. Sam unveiled her mural, now stretching across the council grove, a tapestry of all three peoples, gates, and the promise of unity. Sarah's people offered a gift, seeds of the silver trees, which could grow in water or soil, symbolizing the blending of worlds. The council pledged to keep the gates open, to share knowledge, and to face the Veil's remnants together. The expedition returned through the gate, bringing Sarah and several of her people as honored guests. New Avalon welcomed them with celebration and awe. The silver tree seeds were planted in the city's heart, at the river's edge, and near the sea gate. Children from all three peoples tended the saplings, singing songs taught by the others. Tavi and Sam led a ceremony at the mural, inviting everyone to add their own mark, a handprint, a symbol, a memory. The mural became a living record of unity and hope. Lyra and Tomas organized patrols and workshops, teaching all who wished to learn how to sense and heal the Veil's remnants. Mara, now the city's wise elder, watched as the circle of unity grew ever wider. As the first silver trees blossomed, their leaves shimmering in the dawn, New Avalon and its allies gathered for a festival unlike any before. Delegates from land, sea, and the new people danced together, their voices rising in a song that echoed from gate to gate. The others, radiant in the festival light, spoke to all. "The Veil's shadow will always seek a foothold, but your unity is the world's greatest shield. Remember, every story shared is a light in the darkness." Tavi addressed the crowd, his voice strong and joyful. "Let us keep our gates open, our hearts brave, and our memories true. The world is vast, and our story is only beginning." As the festival ended, Mara smiled at the new generation. Sam, Tavi, Lyra, Tomas, Lyriel, Sarah, and all their friends, knowing that whatever shadows might come, the light of New Avalon would shine on. The silver trees flourished, their leaves shimmering in the sunlight and casting dappled patterns over New Avalon's plazas. Children from every people, land, sea, and the newly found, played beneath their branches, inventing games that blended traditions and stories. The trees became a symbol of unity, their roots intertwining beneath the city and their branches reaching toward every horizon. Sam, inspired by the tree's beauty, began a new mural on the amphitheater wall. She painted the silver canopy arching over the city, with faces from every culture looking upward in wonder. Lyriel and Sarah helped, adding their own symbols and motifs, while Tavi gathered stories from the children to weave into the design. Tomas, ever the inventor, developed a way to use the tree's fallen leaves as a source of gentle light at night. The city glowed softly, a beacon visible from the sea and the distant hills. Mara, now frail but sharp-eyed, watched the city's transformation with pride. "The world has changed," she told Tavi one evening, "but it is your courage that has made it kinder." As summer deepened, the skies began to change. Clouds gathered in strange patterns, and the winds carried whispers from distant lands. Scouts returned with news. In the far east, a gate had gone silent, its energy dimmed. Villages nearby reported strange dreams and crops that withered overnight. The council assembled, joined by Sarah and Lyriel. Tomas displayed readings from the gates. One line on his chart dipped sharply. "Something is draining the gate's energy," he said. "If it fails, the veil could return." Lyra volunteered to lead a team east. Sam, Tavi, Sarah, and Lyriel joined her, along with two others who had become adept at sensing the veil's presence. Before they left, Mara gave Tavi a small pouch of silver leaves. "Plant these where you find darkness," she said. "Let hope take root." The journey east was long and uneasy. The land grew quiet, birdsong fading, and the air heavy with anticipation. When the team reached the silent gate, they found it surrounded by withered grass and empty homes. The gate itself was cold, its symbols dull. Sam knelt and touched the stone. "It's not gone," she whispered. "It's sleeping, or afraid." The others moved in a slow circle, singing a low, resonant note. Sarah and Lyriel reached out to the villagers, listening to their dreams and fears. Tavi planted the first silver leaf at the gate's base. Lyra and Tomas worked to repair the gate's structure. Guided by the others' song that, on the third night, a shadow rose from the gate, a remnant of the veil, feeding on the people's despair. The team stood together, singing and sharing stories, their voices joined by the villagers. Light from the silver leaves spread across the ground, and the shadow shrank, then vanished. As dawn broke, the gate's symbols glowed once more, and a gentle breeze carried the scent of blooming grass. With the gate restored, the land began to heal. Birds returned, and the villagers emerged from their homes, hope rekindled. Sarah taught them the songs of her people, while Lyriel showed them how to weave silver leaves into charms for protection. Sam's mural at the gate grew, now depicting the journey east and the triumph over the shadow. Tavi recorded the villagers' stories, promising to bring them back to New Avalon. The team returned home to a hero's welcome. Mara embraced each of them, her eyes shining. "You have shown that even in the darkest places, unity and hope can bring back the light." The council declared a new festival, the Festival of Song, to be held at every gate, a celebration of resilience and the power of shared memory. As the years passed, New Avalon continued to thrive. The silver trees spread to every allied land, their light a constant reminder of unity. The gates pulsed with healthy energy, and the veil's remnants faded into legend. That Sam's murals became living histories, updated with each new journey and friendship. Tavi, now a leader and storyteller, traveled far and wide, planting silver leaves and gathering tales. Lyra and Tomas trained new teams to watch over the gates, while Sarah and Lyriel led exchanges between the peoples. Mara, at peace, watched the city from her window, knowing her legacy would endure. The Festival of Song became the most cherished celebration in New Avalon and throughout the Allied lands. Each gate, from the mountain passes to the underwater city, became a stage for music, storytelling, and the sharing of memories. The festival marked not just survival, but the victory of hope over fear and unity over division. That Sam's murals were the centerpiece of every gathering. At each festival, she invited children and elders alike to add their own marks. New colors, new stories. The murals grew into living histories, stretching across plazas and gateways, binding the cities and peoples together. Tavi, now recognized as the keeper of stories, opened the festival with a tale of the first journey beyond the veil, his voice carrying across the crowd. We are the sum of every step, every song, and every hand joined in trust. Lyra led a parade of guardians from every culture, their banners bright with the symbols of peace and courage. Tomas unveiled a new invention, a network of crystal orbs tuned to the gates, allowing voices and music to travel instantly between distant lands and beneath the sea. Sarah and Lyriel, now leaders among their people, taught the dances of the silver leaf groves and the songs of the deep. The others, ever luminous, wove harmonies that filled every heart with belonging. As the festival reached its height, a gentle wind swept through New Avalon. The silver trees' leaves rustled, their song carrying a message to all who listened. The sound was more than music. It was a memory, a promise, and a call. Mara, frail but smiling, sat beneath the oldest silver tree. She listened as the leaves whispered the stories of every journey, every healing, and every friendship. Tavi knelt beside her, holding her hand. "The world is so much bigger than we dreamed," Mara said softly. "And Kinder, too." Tavi nodded. "You taught us to listen, to remember, and to hope." The festival's final night was a vigil of light. Lanterns floated on the river, their reflections mingling with the stars. The gates glowed gently, their energy in perfect harmony. With Mara's blessing, a new council was chosen, one that included young voices, sea beings, and even the mysterious folk from beyond the reef gate. Tavi was named Keeper of Stories, Sam the Master of Murals, Lyra the Captain of Guardians, Tomas the Maker of Bridges, Sarah the Envoy of the Silver Groves, and Lyriel the Voice of the Deep. They pledged to keep the gates open, the stories flowing, and the unity strong. Sam began a new mural on the city's highest tower, depicting the council as a circle of hands, each one different but all joined. "We are the bridge," she said, "between every past and every tomorrow." The others, their forms now familiar and beloved, promised to remain as guides and friends. Even as the city celebrated, new mysteries called. Scouts returned with tales of a distant gate, half buried in desert sands, pulsing with an unfamiliar rhythm. Fishermen spoke of strange lights far out to sea, and the crystal orbs sometimes echoed with voices that spoke in unknown tongues. Tavi gathered the council. "The world is not finished. There are still places that need our hope, our stories, and our courage." Lyra prepared a new expedition. Tomas and Sarah readied supplies and inventions. Lyriel and Sam mapped the journey, eager to add new faces and lands to the ever-growing mural. Mara, content, watched them go. "Every ending is a new beginning," she whispered to the silver leaves. As the expedition set out, the city gathered at the gate to sing them onward. The others led the chorus, their voices joined by every people, every age. The gates pulsed with light, and the silver trees shimmered in the dawn. Sam's mural stretched ever onward, a living record of unity and adventure. Tavi's stories traveled faster than the wind, carried by the crystal orbs and the hearts of those who listened.